Versatile Mage. Chapter 619. Killing the little phantom general instantly. A green soul remnant floated out from the bottom of the bus and was slowly drawn inside the little loach pendant. It was quite effective to refine warrior-level soul remnants into servant-class soul essences. Mo Fan, who was focusing on killing the undead, somehow discovered that another soul essence had been refined. Lately, the battle and killing had been ongoing for quite some time. The little loach had been working 24 hours every day to refine soul essences for Mo Fan. The number of soul essences had risen rapidly. More undead continued to make their way toward the crowd. Mo Fan glanced at the people and discovered that some of the men in their robust years who were leading the way had reached the other side of the street. The whole zebra crossing was filled with people, and Mo Fan could only see their heads pushing against one another. However, even with over 90 magicians protecting the barriers, some phantoms with eerie movement styles managed to sneak past the defense and land among the crowd. These phantoms had sharp claws. Following every icy slash, some people would fall to the ground with blood jetting out from the cuts. They had no chance of defending themselves. Luckily, the momentum as the crowd moved together was quite strong, too. These phantoms only dared kill the people on the outer layer, so they could only kill a limited number of people. The low-level undead were creatures that were both greedy and stupid. If some zombies or phantoms managed to kill a human, the others who smelled the fresh blood would simply lunge at the fresh corpse. Therefore, the death of a single person would always buy time for the others, until the undead had finished enjoying the fresh meat, blood, and delicious organs from the corpse. Mo Fan could not do anything to the undead that had snuck into the crowd. Even though he could kill them instantly with a fiery fist, he would end up killing more people than the undead. The situation was basically the survival of termites, as Newby had mentioned. As more undead snuck past the defense, more bodies fell to the ground. Each second someone screamed for help as they dropped into the pools of blood on the ground. Meanwhile, other people safely reached the other side of the street. Mo Fan had long learned the cruelty of this world. The truth was, every battle that happened in this world would have casualties comparable to this invasion of the undead. Mo Fan pinched the black undead crystal he had acquired to pieces. Wisps of energy flowed into his lightning nebula under his control. An eighth. It was Mo Fan's second time using a warrior-level undead crystal to replenish his energy. As Shorty had mentioned, he could only replenish an eighth of his energy. Taking a deep breath, Mo Fan drew a star pattern without any expression. The ability to draw a star orbit with a thought allowed him to cast basic spells instantly. His hands were flickering with lightning. He tossed the lightning right at the zombies outside the barriers. The lightning arcs quickly formed electric fields, spreading between the zombies. However, there were simply too many zombies. The effect of the shock was significantly reduced when more zombies were caught in the field. As such, they were not actually fully paralyzed. The zombies rammed into the barriers made of vehicles and soon broke a hole through. More undead surged through the defense and immediately lunged at the crowd. Mo Fan was initially going to turn around, but when he heard the screams of kids, he clenched his teeth with a pale face and forcefully drew another star orbit. The moon-colored star orbit tore a gap in the air, from which a wounded wolf leapt out and landed close to the gap where the zombies had broken through. Kill them all. Mo Fan gave the order to the Swift Star Wolf. The Swift Star Wolf landed among the undead. It turned into a ray of light falling in the air and stomped the ground with great might, knocking more than 10 zombies into the air. The Swift Star Wolf created some space and uttered a roar into the sky, summoning strong winds and sweeping the dust nearby into a wild storm with the Swift Star Wolf in the center. The pieces of rocks hit the zombies hard, yet they had no sense of pain. However, as the tornado grew stronger, the zombies were lifted off the ground and tossed into the air, before being torn apart by the strong wind or the wolf's claws. The storm of dust was gradually dyed red, as countless zombies and phantoms were torn to pieces. The storm finally dissipated, followed by a rain of blood pouring down from the sky. The kids and teenagers who were left behind the crowd turned around in shock and discovered that the zombies were all gone. The only things that were left were amputated limbs, inner organs, and lumps of meat and blood. In the middle of the rain of blood stood a handsome wolf whose hair was dyed red. It was panting heavily, puffing out white air. Scars, new cuts, and festering wounds were all across the beast's body, yet it continued to follow behind the crowd. Whenever a zombie or phantom was close, it would tear at the undead and rip it in half. Heal. A young teenager bit his lips after calling out the spell's name. Sacred white stars were connected slowly one by one, and started to shake, especially when the count reached the 6th and 7th stars. The whole star orbit could crumble at any time. The teenager had a determined gaze. His forehead was covered in sweat as he finished channeling the basic spell. The glow of the healing spell finally appeared on his palm like fireflies. The young teenager with tender skin joyfully tossed the spell toward the swift star wolf. When the long wound on the swift star wolf's back was sprinkled with the glowing light, it quickly recovered. The half-meter long cut was soon as thin as a string of hair. The wound was on the lower back of the swift star wolf. Each time the swift star wolf swung its claws, it would feel a tearing pain from the wound. Although the healing spell was quite weak, it did help the swift star wolf get rid of its greatest threat. The young teenager was very excited. When he turned around, he suddenly saw a man appear eerily from a shadow. The teenager recognized him. He was the young magician that was killing packs of undead from above. His eyes flickered with respect and admiration. It's my first time casting the spell," said the young teenager with the healing element. "What year are you in?" "Year 10. Let me help you. I can heal your summoned beast. Your summoned beast is so strong, he killed so many undead within a few seconds," said the young teenager. "Hurry up and catch up to the others. Only a few people in the whole city are able to awaken the healing element as their primary element. Don't die too easily," replied Mo Fan calmly. "But I can. Save your passion until you reach the inner city. Healing a magician basically means you've healed a crowd of people." Mo Fan did not speak further to the teenager. He immediately ordered the swift star wolf to bring him to safety. Chapter end. Please guys like, comment, share, and subscribe.